Village speech. So moved, Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Representative from the 1st District of Laguna, Deputy Speaker Danes Fernandez, is recognized to avail his privilege R.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The title of my privilege speech for today's session is Beyond COVID-19, focusing on workers in the informal economy. Mr. Speaker, dear colleagues, friends, and the Filipino people who we serve, good afternoon. I stand before you during a time of great uncertainty and anxiety. The COVID-19 pandemic is wreaking havoc worldwide, and the Philippines is no exemption. As of May 4, there have been 3,580,330 cases, with 248,452 deaths worldwide. Here, as of the same date, COVID cases have reached 9,485 with 623 deaths, and around 20% of all our cases are those of healthcare workers. At least 10% of the deaths are of doctors and nurses. Malaki at masalimuot po ang problema natin. I never imagined that a day would come when we cannot hug, shake each other's hands, or even get near to another person without feeling anxious. We are being forced to change how we relate with each other. COVID-19 is changing our lives in more ways than one. This unseen enemy, this virus, is threatening not only our health, but our very lives. Because of this pandemic, economic activity has been almost at a standstill. We are facing a significant downturn in our economy. Since the start of the lockdown in Metro Manila alone, millions of workers are forced to stay home, and most businesses are ordered closed. Poor workers, especially the daily wage earners, have not even earning, and businesses have been incurring massive losses. We can expect that after the lockdown, our people will not have the same buying capacity as before. Whatever little money they had would have been used for family needs. Worse, a significant number of workers may lose their jobs because businesses will try to cut down their losses. This likely is the immediate future we face after the pandemic. As the world is racing against time to find a cure, and as our country works hard to cope and contain COVID-19, this is also the right time to make plans for recovery. We want our people to be able to resume their lives as soon as the circumstances get better. We cannot afford to be caught off guard yet again. Dapat po tayo ay proactive at hindi lamang reactive. Kailangan natin tunay na matulungan ng ating bansa at mga kababayan upang makabangon sa lalong madaling panahon. As representatives of the Filipino people, it is incumbent upon this honorable House to learn from this pandemic and use this learning to formulate solutions as way of laws that will enable our people to reclaim and restart their lives. Government responsiveness is most important, especially for the welfare of our poor citizens. Today, Mr. Speaker, my dear colleagues, I also stand before you on behalf of the workers in the informal economy. We all know that May 1 of every year is Labor Day, a national holiday. What many may not be aware of is that today, May 6 is the day of workers in the informal sectors. This is based on former President Fidel B. Ramos' proclamation number 1215, series of 1998. Ito po yung proklamasyon ng ating pong dating Pangulo na declaring May 1 to 7 every year as linggo ng paggawa. May 1, all workers. May 2, overseas Filipino workers. May 4, workers in agriculture and industry. May 5, workers in the service sector. May 6, entrepreneurs, self-employed, and other informal sector workers. Pero hanggang ngayon po, Mr. Speaker, little is done for them. These are the workers that I wish to recognize today, Mr. Speaker. Sino-sino po ba manggagawang ito? Kagabi lang, nakita natin yung pagsasara ng ABS-CBN. At doon sa 11,000 na manggagawa ng ABS-CBN, 4,401 ang included sa formal workers at almost 7,000 ang included naman po doon sa informal na ekonomiya. At kabilang dito ang maraming mga artista na hindi kontrata sa ABS. Kasama dito yung mga sa production, mga director, assistant director, makeup artist, stuntmen, stuntwomen, makeup, yung ating pong mga tinatawag na gappers, and a lot more doon po sa ating pong mga production. At hindi lamang po yung mga informal sa aking industry na kinabibilangan dati, ang nabibilang sa informal workers, kasama din po natin ang mga drivers. Sa pedicab, sa taxi, sa bus, sa jeepneys. Sa market, yung mga street ambulant vendors, pati na yung mga nagtitinda sa market. Kasama po natin to, pati na mismo yung mga magtataho. Yung mga waste pickers, mga street sweepers, garbage collectors, home-based workers, construction workers, small farmers, tissue folks, and all core caregivers. Not to be forgotten are the volunteers, contractual, job orders in government instrumentalities such as BHWs, BNS, barangay tanod, daycare workers, and other vulnerable sectors ng workers. Mr. Speaker, my dear colleagues, the number of workers in the informal economy in the country is huge. The April 2018 data indicates that there are around 25.7 million workers. I repeat, 25.7 million workers make up the workers in the informal economy. They comprise almost 63% of all the economically active Filipinos. The women workers in the informal economy are 56.4% of all economically active women. Based on the Philippine Statistics Authority, sinasabi nila noong 2018 na mayroong 25.7 million informal workers. Pero bakit ang pinadala sa atin ng DSWD ay 18 million lamang? Hindi ba sila nag-coordinate sa Philippine Statistics Agency na kung saan meron na silang method of computation na 25.7 million are already included sa informal workers? They are among the poorest of the poor workers. Yet, in the same year, they contributed around 5.7 trillion pesos or 33% of our country's gross domestic product. Indeed, yung sinasabi natin na binigyan natin ng social amelioration program na 18 million, mahihirap nga sila, pero sila po ay productive. Sadly, Mr. Speaker, these workers are not protected by our labor laws. They are without benefits and social protection enjoyed by those formally employed. There are no labor standards to protect their rights, health, safety, and well-being while working. Our labor laws favor workers in formal employment setting and mostly ignore those in the informal economy. There is little government attention in terms of addressing their needs, honing their skills, and supporting their enterprises and livelihood activities, we in Congress need to correct this injustice. This representation has been repeatedly filing Magna Carta of workers in the informal economy, or what we call MACWI. Natatandaan ko, 14 Congress, 15 Congress, 16 Congress, pinail na po natin to. Umabot sa second reading, hindi nakaabot sa plenary. Ang sabi, hindi tayo pwede mag-create ng another department dahil another bureaucratic structure will be created. So, hindi daw. So, we made it from department to an agency. When COVID-19 broke and enhanced community quarantine started, our poor citizens were hit the worst. The threats they faced and continue to face are twofold: COVID-19 and the hunger because of loss of livelihood. Many of them are workers in the informal economy. We saw them in news reports arguing with those implementing the ECQ in droves because, as they said, kung hindi sila makakapagtrabaho, hindi nila mapakapakain ng kanilang pamilya, mamamatay din lamang sila. The scene was repeated many times, and the government needed to act fast because people were getting hungry. We, in Congress, we did our share by immediately passing the Bayanihan to Heal as One Act. When this representation saw the various problems in the implementation of the law, particularly related with the Social Amelioration Program, my bill, MACWI, which I said I filed several times and came to my mind, I thought that if it is only we already have the law, some of the major problems in the SAP implementation could have been averted. Allow me to tell you why, Mr. Speaker and my dear colleagues. The Department of Social Welfare and Development, using the 2015 census data, targeted 18 million families of workers in the informal economy as beneficiaries of SAP for April and May. It is now 2020, and the population has significantly grown. Using 2015 data is simply wrong. Targeting only 18 million is wrong. Kulang na kulang, di po ba? Bakit yung 18 million na sabit nila hindi na i-coordinate sa ating Philippine Statistics Agency para malaman natin kung ano talaga yung total na status ng ating mga informal workers. Na kung saan pala, may data na tayo ng April 2018 at sinasabi, 25.7 million na ang informal workers natin. We were fed the wrong information. Why? Naturally, there have been many problems from identifying eligible beneficiaries to verifying their identities. This and the complex process set by the DSWD resulted in a lot of our poor people getting angry. People are angry at the barangay officials and the local government units. Sigurado po, kahit naman tayo nasa kalagayan nila, kung nagugutom na ang ating pamilya at wala tayong magagawang paraan, ay magagalit din tayo. In turn, LGUs began complaining because of the small number of beneficiaries allocated to them by the DSWD. Mayors were saying that the numbers were very short of the actual number of families needing SAP assistance. Sa amin nga sa Santa Rosa po ang nakalista sa DSWD 54,000, and actuality po meron na kaming 100,000. Paano magbabalanse? Hindi na updated yung record na sinabit sa atin. Outside the problem with numbers, nagka-problema na nga po tayo doon sa problems tungkol sa mga numero na binigay sa atin ng DSWD. Sobrang bagal din po ang pag-release ng SAP. Alam natin lahat yan. During a crisis, we cannot be slow. Time is of the essence. The long and complicated process required by the DSWD in the identification, validation, and revalidation of beneficiaries is counterproductive. I have to say that the House leaderships specific recommendation to the DSWD for a more expeditious sub-process were sadly ignored. Natatandaan ko nung napanood ko yung FB Live ni Speaker Alan Cayetano, na kung saan nagbigay tayo ng recommendation na isimplify natin, specifically doon sa mga validation, di ba? 4 na validation ang ginawa nila. Validation sa barangay, representative ng DSWD, tapos validation sa LGU, tapos dadalhin sa central. Kung makikita mo yung listahan nila, talagang napakahaba ng proseso. And isa lamang siguro doon sa mga rekomendasyon ng ating leadership ang tinanggap ng DSWD. I think yung house-to-house lang ng pag-deliver ng ating pong SAP form. Ang problem, ngayon, na mangongolekta na ng pera yung ating mga taong bayan, pinatawag na mga sa mga barangay. Naalala ko, nung Monday, nung pumunta tayo dito sa Kongreso, nakita natin dito sa may school dito, hindi ko alam kung ano school dito sa kalapit ng Kongreso. Ang haba ng pila, and the social distancing are being violated already. Kanina lamang, tumawag yung kababayan ko. Kung kawawa po ito, ang text sa akin. Kawawa po mga tao dito, in-schedule ng DSWD ng alas 8 ng maga, bigayan ng amelioration. 5 a.m. pa lang po, nakapila na mga tao. Ngayon po, 11:44, pinauuwi na kami. Dahil wala pa ang DSWD at bumalik na lang daw mamaya. Nakakaawa mga tao sa palpak na sistema ng DSWD. Tulungan niyo po kami mahihirap. Na-text ko na po ang lahat ng inaasahan namin makakatulong sa amin, kaso ni isa po ay walang tumugon. Nung namigay po ng forms ang DSWD, nagbahay-bahay sila. Bakit ngayong bigayan ay kailangang magkumpulan ng mga tao sa barangay? Gayong alam nating delikado ang COVID. Di po kaya pwedeng magtungo ang DSWD sa bawat purok? Konting awa po sa mahihirap at nagugutom na mamamayan. Nakakalungkot na maraming ganitong mga problema na kinakaharap. And this is the power of Congress, the oversight power of the Congress to look into the implementation of the laws that we have passed. And that's this time, katulad na sinabi ng ating leadership sa pangunguna ni Speaker Alan Cayetano, this is a different time. This is a dangerous time. And that's the reason why the power of oversight is being seen and being implemented right now. Dahil nga po, iba ang panahon na ating pong nararanasan sa pagkakataong ito. Ang katotohanan, iisa ang kalaban, COVID-19. Hindi po tayo naglalaban-laban dito. Tayo po ay dapat na nagkakasama upang gupuin ang iisang kaaway, ang COVID-19. Ang Kongreso ay hindi po kaaway. Kasama po tayo sa pagsugpo ng problema. What this representation now is the targeted 18 million families as beneficiaries for April and May. Only 13 million have actually received SAP as for the last information that I received. Personal po natin nakita kung gaano kahaba ang pila ng mga tumatanggap ng SAP. Napakahirap pong ipatupad talaga ng physical distancing sa ganitong kalagayan. Not only are people are angry and hungry because of the very long wait, many qualified families are also excluded from SAP. If MACWI is already a law, these problems would not be as big as they are. First, data would not have been a significant problem. Despite the absence of a census this year, MACWI has strong provisions on database of workers in the informal economy, from the LGU to the national level. To qualify as beneficiaries of programs under the law, the workers, their livelihood activities, no matter how small, as well as their organization, would need to register with their LGUs. This means that government, from the LGUs to national agencies, will have the needed data about them. Hindi po natin sana naging problema ang bilang ng dapat na tumanggap ng ayuda. Ang kanilang lokasyon, pati na rin po ang level ng tulong na maaaring tanggapin. Hindi rin po sana naging problema ang mahabang proseso ng identifikasyon, validation, revalidation ng mga beneficiaries. Hindi po sana malaki ang kulang ng ating target beneficiaries. Mas naging mabilis po sana ang pagdating ng tulong sa mga nangangailangan. Hindi sana magugutom ang marami nating mga manggagawa. Hindi sila magpipilit lumabas kahit may ECQ at ma-expose sa COVID-19. Hindi po magagalit sa pamahalaan ang ating mahihirap na manggagawa. Pangalawa, if government lacks of human resources to deliver yung mga assistance na hindi ma-deliver, the organization of workers in the informal economy could have been tapped to help. After all, under MACWI, these groups would have been accredited by LGUs and national government. I know for a fact that these organizations are willing to help because MACWI directly came from them. At ikatlo po, the level of assistance needed from a single government agency may not be as big. This is because if MACWI is already a law, workers in the informal economy would have social protection, like membership with the social security system under customized programs. This social protection mechanism would lessen the workers' vulnerability to risk, such as those brought about by COVID-19. This means that the workers would not be at the mercy of one government entity because they would also stand to benefit from SSS as contributing members. Moreover, if MACWI has been in place, our government, both LGUs and national agencies, would have running programs for them as provided by law. Possibly, workers in the informal economy would be in a better position than now. This means that both government and workers would be a bit better prepared to face the COVID-19 pandemic. At ang huli, last speaker, if MACWI has been passed earlier, our plans to move forward after COVID-19 would be better informed because of the presence of data, pati yung mga relevant programs, consultation, coordination, and implementation of structures, system, and mechanism with active participation of accredited workers in the informal economy organization. I said earlier that this is the time to plan our next steps in helping our poor citizens restart and regain control of their lives. If MACWI is already a law, we will not start from scratch. We will have a good idea of what 25.7 million workers need. We will even have understanding of what need to be done in relation with the major groups of workers like women and young workers, the senior workers, home workers, those in the service industry, the vendors, sellers, farmers and peasant folks, and others. We will only need to continue, update, upgrade, or add to existing programs in coordination with the workers' organization. I can only imagine how easier and faster we can develop said plans and how much more responsive these plans could be. Another important thing that I would like to say is, all studies point to the fact that after all the crisis, the numbers of workers in the informal economy significantly increase. Those who lose their job, employment transfer, lahat sila baksak sa informal worker. Katulad na nangyari sa ABS. Kumbaga, kung meron silang 11,000, 4,000 yung kanilang formal, mapapunta na po sila doon sa informal. So lahat ng 11,000, informal workers na po yan. As it is, Mr. Speaker, the possibility of many workers losing their jobs is big. Add to this, we see the tens of thousands of our OFWs are coming back home. If they stay, what kinds of livelihood activities will they engage in? Most possibly, they will also be in the informal economy. Thus, we in government really need to be better prepared. This representation knows that MACWI remains to be a bill, and that's why I'm calling the leadership and also the chairman of the Committee on Labor, Congressman Eric Pineda. I hope that this Honorable House now sees how important this bill is, and I hope that we have learned from this COVID-19 crisis. Mr. Speaker, my dear colleagues, let us now work on our roadmap to moving forward. Maraming mga naging pagkukulang at pagkakamali, subalit tayo po ay may malaking magagawa upang ang mga ito ay mapunan at may tama. Marami po tayong dapat gawin upang simplisahan ang ating pagbangon. 25.7 million workers in the informal economy are waiting, and more will be added to their ranks. Today is their day. Araw po ng mga informal na manggagawa sa ekonomiya. This representation, and I'm sure that the whole House too, would like to recognize their contributions and also address the decades of neglect they have experienced. Mabuhay po tayong lahat. Mabuhay ang mga manggagawa sa informal na ekonomiya. Maraming salamat po.
Maraming salamat. Kagalang-galang na Deputy Speaker Danes Fernandez from Laguna. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we recognize the Honorable Arlene Brosas of Gabriela Party List for her interpellation. So move, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Arlene Rosas is recognized to interpolate the Deputy Speaker Danes Fernandez.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, to our distinguished colleague, maraming salamat po, Deputy Speaker Fernandez, sa pagpapaalala sa araw ng paggawa. Will the distinguished colleague yield to a few questions? Konti lang po na tanong.
Surely,
kaugnay sa inyong,
Congresswoman Arlene.
Yes, thank you. Deputy Speaker, Mr. Speaker, to our distinguished colleague, sa pagpapaalala po sa atin sa araw ng paggawa at sa pangangailangang bigyan ng atensyon ng ating informal sector workers na kalakhan ay kababaihan. Marami po talaga dyan, babae, no? Halos kalahati. Yung mga may sari-sari store, ito yung mga nagbebenta ng gulay, ito yung mga, no? Kabilang po talaga sila sa mga nangangailangan na magtrabaho para makatulong sa gastusin sa bahay. Tama po ba na hindi kayang saklawin ng SAP at iba pang existing programs ang informal sector workers natin na humihingi ng saklolo sa ngayon?
Yes,
Distinguished
Mr.
colleague,
Speaker,
Mr. Speaker.
56.3% ng mga informal workers natin ay nabibilang sa mga kababaihan. At nakakalungkot isipin na lahat ng mga informal workers natin, kumbaga sa gobyerno natin, invisible sila eh. They cannot be seen because wala silang protection sa kanilang trabaho. Wala silang social protection, wala silang health insurance, wala silang benepisyo. Pero still, nagko-contribute ng malaki sa ating ekonomiya. According dito sa ating record ay 33% ng growth development, yung ating GDP ay kino-contribute ng informal workers. And that's the reason why I think this is the high time that we need to give benefits to these informal workers. Itong ating naranasan sa mga pagkakataong ito, hindi natin mararanasan kung ang mga informal workers have been given the right benefits already by this government and the previous government.
Mr. Speaker, to our distinguished colleague, totoo po yung sinasabi na malaki yung naiaambag, no, sa ekonomiya, pero sila rin naman yung nahihirapan ngayon dahil walang amelioration at hindi sila sinasaklaw, no, ng social amelioration. Ito po yung pat-ulit-ulit naming sinasabi, no, o pinupunto sa Makabayan Block kada linggo sa tuwing nagsusumite ang Malacanang ng ulat sa Joint Oversight Committee, kaugnay ng implementasyon ng Bayanihan to Heal as One. Maliit na nga yung target, hindi pa maabot hanggang ngayon ang target na 18 million para sa ating mga mahihirap na mamamayan. In fact, may 7.7 million pang pamilya ang hindi naaabot ng SAP. Nagsisimula po tayo sa pagtatanggal kesa sa pagdadagdag, no? Nagsisimula tayo ang marami pong report sa amin, nagsisimula sa pag-aalis ng mga pangalan na hindi ini-include doon sa social amelioration kesa yung tulungan sila. Ano pong naging tugon ng IATF at saka ng DSWD kaugnay dito? Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, as a matter of fact, yung pong pagtulong ng ating gobyerno pagdating po sa mga informal workers, which were submitted to Congress during the approval ng Bayanihan We Heal as One Act, ay 18 million yung estimated numbers ng DSWD. Kaya nagbigay tayo ng 200 billion para sa Mayo at Abril, para specifically for 18 million. But unfortunately, the problem lies with the actuality of the situation. Dahil sa ground, hindi naman talaga 18 million lamang yung mga informal workers. According nga sa PSA, lumalabas na 25.7 million yung mga informal workers that need to be attended to as well. Kaya dito tayo nagkaroon ng problema. Nung una, sabi ng leadership natin, ni Speaker, sinabi niya, bigyan natin lahat ng SAF form. At dahil in anticipation na talagang tama yung naaprubahan natin. Pero ito, lumalabas dito sa PSA report, noong April 2018, base sa kanilang statistics, ay 25.7. Kaya kulang tayo ng almost 7 million. Tama ka, Mr. Speaker, na hindi pa nabibigyan noong tinatawag nating SAP. But, of course, marami recommendation ng ating leadership that time na inisip nga natin ng leadership that time that instead na 2 buwan ang bibigay, 1 buwan na lang, hatiin na lang sa ating mga remaining 7 million na informal workers para na sa ganoon ay lahat ay nabigyan under the SAP. Now, according to the report that was submitted to me as well, out of the 18 million, 13 million na ang nabibigyan ng SAP at kulang pa ng almost 5 million. But hindi pa rin natin na isasama yung sinasabi natin na 7.7 million na hindi kasama doon sa inaprubahan natin under the Bayanihan Act.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleague. Actually, nahihirapan din po kaming pagkatiwalaan sa ngayon ang ating gobyerno dahil kung hindi pa nga naibibigay yung mga kulang na SAP at sinasabi sa PSA na 25 million pa at mas marami pa talaga yung nasa informal sectors, tapos meron tayong mga job workers sa government mismo na hindi nabibigyan ng regular na trabaho kahit mismong ang gobyerno ay hindi makapagbigay ng trabaho. At sa ngayon ay meron tayong kaso na magpapasara ng trabaho, ng kabuhayan, ng libo-libo nating mamamayan na nagtatrabaho sa ABS-CBN. Paano po yun, Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleague, makakatulong sa perception natin na ang pamahalaan natin, ang gobyerno natin ay tunay na tinutulungan ang mga mamamayan natin at nagbibigay ng trabaho, hindi nagtatanggal ng trabaho at tumutulong talaga or nagpapalawig pa bukod doon sa 18 million ay paano pahanapan na tulungan ang lahat ng nangangailangan. Mr. Speaker, distinguished.
That's the reason why, Mr. Speaker, the more that we have to expedite the approval of this MACWI bill ng Magna Carta for Informal Workers para kung sakali katulad yan nangyari din sa ABS na nawalan sila ng trabaho, they are protected under our existing laws na kung saan social protection sa kanilang kalusugan, pati na yung kanilang working condition will be protected by the state. Ang problem natin ngayon, if ikaw ay isang informal worker, ang dating mo sa government ngayon, you are invisible. At wala tayong record, data, or any profile of those people who are under the informal economy. And that's the reason why yung nangyayari ngayon sa ABS-CBN, unfortunately, meron pa naman tayong ibang mga access sa ating pong pamahalaan like sa DOLE na kung saan yung ating pong mga informal workers can avail the existing programs that they have. So in other words, hindi rin naman po salat yung hindi pagtulong ng ating gobyerno sa mga mawawalan ng trabaho. Sa katotohanan, meron namang ibibigay na tulong ang ating government. But the problem is, yun na nga, hindi siya naka-specific sa isang department that it deals only with the problem of the informal economy. Kasi we have to consider also the contribution of these workers which contribute 30% of the GDP ng ating pong national government. Kaya it's high time that we really recognize the contribution of the informal workers in this country.
Yes, yes, Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleague. Maganda po yung sinasabi ninyo. Matagal po namin na sinusulong dito sa Kongreso yung magkaroon ng regular talaga na trabaho. Kasi alam naman natin, pag tiningnan natin sa pangmatagalan, ang gusto talaga natin ay maging regular workers, yung mga nasa informal na sektor. Yung magkaroon talaga sila at sumahod sila ng sang-ayon sa kanilang kakayanan, at yung just wage, yung meron sila. Kaya po, hirap kaming isipin ngayon na yung mga nangyayari o ipinapakita ng mga kaganap ngayon o kaganapan ngayon na nawawalan ng kabuhayan lalo yung ating mga mamamayan. Alam naman natin na ang idudulot ng pandemic na ito ay matindi. Ngayon, hindi po natin kailangan ng mga katulad ng nangyayari ngayon sa ABS-CBN na alam niyo po, ang huling hindi umere ang ABS-CBN ay panahon pa ng diktaturyang Marcos. Kaya nakakalungkot pong isipin ngayon na off the air ang ABS-CBN at natanggalan ng kabuhayan ng mga tao. Ito po yung sinasabi namin na malinaw, na paglabag po sa kanilang mga karapatan. At hindi lang yon, syempre, sa buong mga sabi nga natin, sa mga informal workers natin, ang gusto sana natin, magkaroon sila ng regular na trabaho pagdating ng araw. Yun po yung gusto nating ipunto. Just wage, regular work, yung nakakayanan po nila ng mga basic nilang mga pangangailangan, Sabi nga natin, hindi lang public health ang may problema yung ekonomiya din talaga natin, kung paano natin titingnan. Hindi po new normal yung kailangan. Kasi kung yung dati na ginagawa natin ay hindi na workable ngayon, dapat talagang pag-isipan na natin kung paano maiaahon ang mga informal workers natin in the long run. Maraming salamat po, Mr. Speaker. Maraming salamat, distinguished.
Maraming salamat, Mr. Speaker.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we recognize the lady from ACT Teachers Party List, the Honorable Franz Castro, for her interpellation. So move, Mr. Speaker.
The lady from ACT Party List, ACT Teacher Party List is recognized if Deputy Speaker Dan Fernandez is willing to yield or is willing to be interpolated.
Willingly, Mr. Speaker.
So, proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you,
Point of order,
DS Fernandez, for yielding to some
What's the
of
point of
my
order of Representative Belmonte?
With the indulgence of both colleagues in the House, Mr. Chair, it was pointed out to me that certain matters being discussed by the proponent, the privileged speech, are matters concerning pending bills. In particular, he has a pending bill in this matter. And as I understand it, we are cautioned from discussing matters in plenary that are already pending under the committees.
The point is, the point of Representative Belmonte is correct. And indulgence to Deputy Speaker Dan Fernandez.
Yeah, I submit to the recommendation of the Honorable Kit Belmonte, considering that the Magna Carta for informal workers already in the committee level, we can further discuss this issue that entails the benefits of the informal workers. With due respect with our colleague, Congresswoman France, we can probably discuss this thoroughly in the committee level, which I believe Congressman Eric Pineda of the Committee on Labor can somehow expedite the discussion so we can somehow approve this pending bill.
Thank you very much, Deputy Speaker Dan Fernandez, Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, yes, it is correct that under Rule 16 of the rules of the House, there's a provisions there which says members shall not avail of the privilege hour to speak on concerns that are principally and directly related to the subject matter of measures already pending in any committee or in plenary session. The privileged speech of the Honorable of D.S. Fernandez was allowed because of the issue of COVID-19. But if it will tackle matters that is related to the pending bill, then should not be allowed, Mr. Speaker.
For that reason, Majority Leader, let us terminate the privileged speech of privilege hour of Deputy Speaker Dan Fernandez and proceed to
Bakit?
another speaker.
Di ba pwede naman yung...
Majority Leader. Majority Leader, let's proceed to another speaker.
Mr. Speaker, I move to refer the speech and its interpolation to the Rules Committee, the speech of Deputy Speaker Dan Fernandez. So,
And-
Mr. Speaker.
Any objection? The chair is none. The motion is approved. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move to recognize from the Lone District of Mandaluyong City, Deputy Speaker Neptali M. Gonzales to avail of the privilege hour.
Representative from Lone District of Mandaluyong City, the Honorable Deputy Speaker Neptali Gonzales is recognized to avail his privilege hour.
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes. Proceed, please proceed. Deputy Speaker. We can hear you. You may proceed.
Walang sounds.
You may proceed. You may
Can you
proceed.
hear me?
Yes, loud and clear. Please proceed.
Thank you. Hindi magulo. Okay na? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, at to our Majority Leader, maraming salamat. Ginoong Speaker, sa aking mga kasama, isang mapagpalang hapon sa ating lahat. Ayon po sa RA 10069 na inakda noong April 6, 2010, bukas, ika-7 ng Mayo 2020, ipagdiriwang natin ang National Health Workers Day. Ito ang araw ng pagkilala natin sa kahalagahan ng ginagampanang tungkulin ng ating mga health workers sa pangangalaga ng kalusugan ng ating mga mamamayan. Higit na tumingkad ang kahalagahan ng mga tungkulin nila sa araw na ito dahil humarap tayong kasama ang ibang tao sa buong mundo ng isang naiibang pagsubok. Humigit kumulang sa 2 buwan na ang nakalilipas na ang ating mga health workers, mga doktor, nurses, medical technologists man, o mga simple or ordinaryong kawani o auxiliary aids lamang ng mga ospital at mga health centers ay hinarap ang panganib sa kanilang sarili dulot ng COVID-19. Marso pa lamang ng taong ito, ang ating mga health workers sa mga health facilities ng pamahalaan at pribadong ospital ay wala nang tigil sa pag-aasikaso sa paggamot sa mga tinamaan at nagkasakit ng COVID-19. Hindi nila inalintana ang kakulangan ng mga personal protective equipment or PPE katulad ng masks, face mask, goggles, mga medical disposable gowns. At sa katunayan, kahit nawala ito o sa kakulangan ito, ay patuloy sila na nagbuyat, nagpakapagod, nawalay sa kanilang mga pamilya at sa kanilang mga mahal sa buhay. At ang malungkot sa lahat, dahil sa kanilang pagtupad sa kanilang tungkulin, marami sa kanila ang nabingit sa kamatayan. Sa katotohanan ay meron din mula sa hanay nila na namatay din dahil sa COVID-19. At kuminsan ay nakalulungkot at nakahihiya na kuminsan sila ay pinagpipirihan pa at kuminsan ay nagiging biktima pa ng mga harassment. Sa mandaluyong na aking kinakatawan dito sa Kongreso, namalas ko ang personal ang kanilang kabayanihan, ang kabayanihan ng aming mga health workers, ang mga kawani ng mga health centers, mga doktor, mga nurses sa aming Mandaluyong City Medical Center, sa National Center for Mental Health, ang pribadong ospital ng Mandaluyong na Victor Potenciano Medical Center, maging rank and file employees nila na walang tigil sa pagtupad sa kanilang mga tungkulin. Dalawa sa aming mga health workers ang pumanaw dahil sa COVID-19. Isang doktor sa surgery department, si Dr. Senator Nicandro Bautista, at si Mr. Manny Pacheco, ang aming nursing supervisor sa Mandaluyong City Medical Center. Dahil sa katapatan sa pagganap ng tungkulin ng mga health workers, higit sa lahat, sa mapaghamong panahon ngayon na hindi nila inalintana ang kanilang sarili, ang kanilang kaligtasan at kapakanan para sa kagalingan ng kanilang kapwa, marapat dapat lang nakilalanin nating lahat ang kanilang kabayanihan. Sa katotohanan po, hindi lang sila mga bayani, kung hindi sa pananaw ng ating pananalig, sila ang kapahayagan ng pagkalinga ng poong may kapal sa ating lahat. Sa pamamagitan nila, namamalas at nararamdaman natin ang mapagkalingang kamay ng ating Panginoong Diyos. Kaya naman, higit na naging makulay at napakamahalaga ang pagdiriwang ng National Health Workers Day natin ngayon dahil sa buhay, pagkatao at sakripisyo ng bawat isa sa kanila. Alam ko kung walang sapat na gatimpala ang maaaring itapat sa inyong nagawa at patuloy na ginagawa. Hindi namin masusuklian ang inyong walang humpay na katapatan sa inyong mga sinumpaang katungkulan, sa inyong mga kadakilaan at kabayanihan. Hayaan niyo idagdag ko ang aking maliit na piling at hugutin ko mula sa ikaibuturan ng aking puso ang isang taos-pusong pasasalamat sa inyo, aming mga health workers. Dalangin ko rin na ang pag-iingat at biyaya ng poong may kapal ang siyang bumalo at lumupo sa inyong lahat. Sa inyo na aming dinadakilang mga health workers ng Pilipinas, mabuhay kayo. Maraming salamat po, Ginoong Speaker, at magandang hapon po sa ating lahat.
Maraming salamat, Deputy Speaker Neftali Gonzales II. Sa pangalan po ng buong Kamara de Representante, sinasamahan namin kayo sa pagpupugay sa ating mga health workers. Majority Leader?
Mr. Speaker, I move that we refer the speech of the Honorable Neftali Gonzales to the Committee on Rules for its appropriate action. So moved, Mr. Speaker.
Any objection? The chair is none. The motion is approved. Majority Leader?
Mr. Speaker, I move that we recognize the Honorable Minority Leader, Benny Abante, for his privileged speech. So moved, Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Minority Leader from the 6th District of Manila is recognized to avail his privilege hour.
Salamat po, kabayan. Mr. Speaker, sa ating mga kaibigan at kasama dito sa House of the People, kabayan, magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. Ako po'y tumatayo dito ngayong hapon on a matter of personal privilege to discuss the need to abolish the National Telecommunications Commission o tinatawag nating NTC. Hindi sapagkat sa kanilang desisyon kahapon, sapagkat ito po'y nasa isipan ko na ng matagal na panahon na dapat ang mga ahensya ng gobyernong matatawag nating useless, dapat nang tanggalin. The National Telecommunications Commission was created under Executive Order number 546, promulgated on July 23, 1979, and conferred with regulatory and quasi-judicial functions taken over from the Board of Communications and the Telecommunications Control Bureau, which were abolished in the same order. Then came Republic Act 7925, an act to promote and govern the development of Philippine telecommunications and the delivery of public telecommunications services, which expanded the powers of the NTC as the sole body that exercises jurisdiction over the supervision, adjudication, and control over all telecommunication services throughout the country. For the effective enforcement of this responsibility, Mr. Speaker, my colleagues, it adopts and promotes such guidelines, rules, and regulations relative to the establishment, operation, and maintenance of various telecommunications facilities and services nationwide. Although independent insofar as its regulatory and quasi-judicial functions are concerned, the NTC remains under the administrative supervision of the Department of Information and Communications Technology as an attached agency. However, with respect to its quasi-judicial functions, NTC's decisions are appealable only and directly to the Supreme Court. Here, we have a government body that is supposed to regulate a very powerful and rich industry. Yet, over the years, the incompetence of its officials has resulted in a poorly regulated sector, and that is telecommunications, whose pervasiveness and influence across all classes of society are beyond question. Bakit nga ba isa sa pangunahing programa ni President Duterte na makapasok ang telco sa bansa? Bakit nga ba ho? Dahil sa kapalpakan ng NTC na bantayan ang sektor na ito. Kaya nga kinakailangan pa natin lumikha ng bagong departamento, ang DICT, dahil hindi nagampanan ng NTC ang tungkulin nito. We have an NTC that merely proposes and suggests policies to the industry. Violations of NTC regulations are supposed to be dealt with by suspension, if not cancellation of license to operate. But did the NTC ever suspend or penalize the likes of PLDT, Globe, or Smart? Kahit ang daming issues at problema sa telecoms tulad ng drop calls, unregistered prepaid cards, expensive text messaging fees, phone scams, poor telephone service, lack of interconnection, at marami pang iba. Ang mga kababayan na po natin na siyang gumagamit ng cellphone, tayo ang number 1 sa texting sa buong mundo, mga kaibigan, ay kinakailangan malaman na ang mga bagay na ito. We have seen how inutile the NTC has become. It came out with a memorandum circular that required mobile phone service providers to abide by certain minimum quality of standards. Unfortunately, the Commission does not even have the equipment to do an independent test. My goodness. It has to rely on data submitted by the telcos. When one of the cellular operators was accused of not meeting the required standards, the NTC could not find an independent body that would verify the claims against said operator. The collection of fees by the NTC has increased 12-fold over the decade since 1992. Its budget has increased exponentially in the same period. Given that the complexity of regulatory issues grows proportionately with the size of the industry, the growing disparity between the problems in the industry and the capacity of NTC to respond can no longer be ignored. Do you recall the issue of Service Area Scheme, or SAS? The NTC's forbearance on infractions of some licenses has greatly eroded its credibility as a regulator when the SAS participants defaulted in their obligations. The Commission had the recourse of revoking their provisional authority to operate, but it did not. Mr. Speaker, another problem facing the NTC is its lack of dynamism to keep up with new technologies, particularly those built around data and internet protocol technologies. Telecommunication companies could, for example, provide mass media services and content, just as cable companies can now easily provide internet-related services, including voice-over IP telephony. Ang mga shows sa TV ay mapapanood mo na sa cellphone at ibang mga gadgets. Ang mga broadcast companies ay ginagamit ng internet bilang platform para sa broadcasting. Nasaan ang NTC? Anong regulasyon ang ginagawa nito? Ang PLDT, kumuha ng prangkisa sa Kongreso. Matagal na proseso. Mahal ang bayad pag overseas call o long distance. Pero, pwede ka na ngayon tumawag gamit ang internet. Voice over Internet Protocol o VoIP. Kadalasan libre lang. Merong mga application gaya ng Viber, WhatsApp, Zoom, at Messenger na pwede ka pang mag-video calls. Walang mga prangkisa yan galing sa Kongreso. Anong ginagawa ng NTC? Our National Telecommunications Commission, supposedly in charge of regulating and promoting the telecommunications industry, has turned out to be one of the most inept and useless agencies whose only relevance lies in being another model for sheer wastage of the taxpayers' money. Its failure all these years to invoke sanctions against the companies poorly serving the people's telecommunications need is a perfect reason to abolish it already. But the latest act of the NTC in issuing a cease and desist order against broadcast company ABS-CBN is a slap in the face of Congress and an outright act of defiance. The House Committee on Legislative Franchises in February 2020 urged the NTC to grant provisional authority to ABS-CBN until, as I quote, has made a decision on its application. No less the House Speaker Alan Peter Cayetano and Palawan Representative Franz Alvarez, chair of the House Committee on Legislative Franchises, already sent a letter to NTC urging it to issue a provisional authority effective May 4, 2020. The Senate also passed a resolution calling on the NTC to issue a provisional authority to ABS-CBN. The NTC requested for a legal opinion from the DOJ. The opinion given by DOJ Secretary Minato Guevara is to the effect that there is a basis for ABS-CBN to be given authority to continue operating while its franchise renewal is pending to it, and I quote, "There is sufficient equitable basis to allow broadcast entities to continue operating while the bills for the renewal of the respective franchise remain pending with Congress. However, a more stable legal environment could be created if Congress, by a concurrent resolution, would authorize the NTC to issue a provisional authority to these broadcasting companies until Congress' final disposition of their franchise renewal bills." End of quote. On this basis, NTC Commissioner Gamaliel Cordova told the House Committee on Legislative Franchises on March 10, under oath, that the NTC will issue a provisional authority to ABS-CBN. Contrary to its previous pronouncement, the NTC issued a cease and desist order directing ABS-CBN to cease operations immediately. I don't care about ABS-CBN. It can be another network. Hayaang binastos at binaliwala ng NTC ang Kongreso. Maraming salamat po, Mr. Speaker. Maraming salamat po sa inyong pakikinig.
Mr. Speaker, I wish to
The Deputy Senior Majority Leader.
I wish to raise a point of order on the matter of ABS-CBN being discussed in the speech of the Honorable Abante. I move to strike out all the remarks that have to do with ABS-CBN, since it is made clear that it will not be discussed in plenary today, since the rules prohibit this discussion of ABS-CBN, since it is already pending in committee. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Any objection? The chair is none. the motion to strike statements related to ABS-CBN is granted. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we refer the speech of the Honorable Minority Leader Benny Abante to the Committee on Rules for its appropriate action. So move, Mr. Speaker.
Any objection? The chair is none. Motion is approved. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move to suspend session.
Session suspended.
Picture niya, baka mag-alisan lahat.
Dito, paano natin, tayo natin dito. Habang nakasuspend.
Picture na, picture.
Adjourn na ba tayo?
Hindi ba? Pero may ano pa eh.
Paano pa? Wala pinta mo siya. Ako okay lang. Kasi ako. Ako na lang ako siya. Ano na pala? Sinasabing IV kung pwede
Sessions resume. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we close the privilege hour.
Any objection? There is none. The motion is approved. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that all the bills, House bills approved today for third reading be transmitted to the Senate. So move, Mr. Speaker.
Any objection? The chair is none. The motion is approved. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that I move to suspend session, Mr. Speaker.
There's a correction on the result of the nominal voting on House Bill 6498 and 6499. Instead of 216 for affirmative votes, we have 218 affirmative votes. Majority Leader?
In-approve niya na ba yung In-approve niya ba? Mr. Speaker, I would like to reiterate my motion that all bills passed today for
The
third
motion had
reading.
been granted by the presiding officer
Okay,
earlier.
I move to adjourn, Mr. Speaker.
There's a motion to adjourn, and let us adjourn until 3 o'clock, May 11, 2020, 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Picture na, picture.
Wala yun, ito? Yeah, picture, picture. Dali, ani.
O, dyan kayo, dito ako. Masyado naman malayo. Ito ako, para medyo malapit.
Tayo mo na ha.
Kunyari, may ginagawa tayo. Cellphone mo yun eh.
Anak,
Cellphone mo yun eh.